The battle had been swift and brutal. Captain Rhys Calder stood amidst the spoils of their latest raid, surveying the cargo bay now filled with the remnants of their conquest. The alien frigate they'd boarded had surrendered after a brief skirmish, leaving its treasures at the mercy of Rhys's crew. Gold, jewels, rare artifacts, the usual haul for spacefaring raiders. But as the spoils were divided among the crew, Rhys was called to the front by his quartermaster, Calder. "Captain," Calder said, his rough voice tinged with uncertainty, "there's something you need to see." Rhys followed Calder to a reinforced containment pod. Inside, through the transparent barrier, stood a figure unlike anything Rhys had ever seen. She was an alien girl, tall and slender, with luminous, amethyst-colored skin that shimmered under the harsh lights of the cargo bay. Her hair flowed like strands of liquid silver, and her eyes glowed softly, a mesmerizing shade of gold. She wore a simple, elegant garment that clung to her like a second skin, hinting at a culture far more advanced than any Rhys had encountered. She wasn't chained or caged. She simply stood there, calm and unafraid, her gaze meeting Rhys's with a mixture of curiosity and defiance. "What's this?" Rhys asked, his voice low. "Found her in the captain's quarters of the alien frigate," Calder explained. No sign of struggle. She was just there, waiting. "And the crew?" "Dead," Calder said grimly. "But not by our hand. They were already gone when we boarded." Rhys's eyes narrowed. This was no ordinary prisoner. "Open the pod." Calder hesitated. "Captain, she might be dangerous." "If she wanted us dead, she'd have made her move already," Rhys said, his hand resting on the hilt of his plasma saber. "Open it." The hiss of decompressing air filled the room as the pod's door slid open. The alien girl stepped out with an almost regal grace, her golden eyes never leaving Rhys. "Do you understand me?" Rhys asked. She tilted her head, as if processing his words, then nodded. "Yes," she replied in a voice that was both melodic and strange, like the hum of a distant star. "I am Lyra." "Lyra," Rhys repeated. "Why were you on that ship?" She hesitated, then said, "I was their prize. A relic of their greed." "A relic?" "My people are few," she explained. "We are hunted, traded, treated as commodities by those who value beauty over life." Her gaze hardened. "But I am no one's possession." Rhys's jaw tightened. He had no love for slavers, and the thought of anyone treating a living being as cargo turned his stomach. "You're free now. No one on this ship will harm you." Lyra studied him, her expression unreadable. "You speak as though you have power over them. Are you their leader?" "I am," Rhys said simply. "Captain Rhys Calder. This is my ship, the Iron Veil." She inclined her head. "Then I thank you, Captain Rhys Calder. But freedom is not so easily given. What do you intend to do with me?" Rhys hesitated. His crew would expect her to be treated as part of the spoils. Keeping her aboard would invite trouble, but letting her go, where would she even go? He made his decision. "You'll stay here," he said, "until we figure out where you belong." Over the next few days, Lyra became a quiet but intriguing presence aboard the Iron Veil. She wandered the ship with an air of quiet dignity, observing the crew as they went about their duties. Some eyed her with suspicion, others with curiosity, but none dared cross her. Something about her presence commanded respect. Rhys found himself drawn to her. She was intelligent, her knowledge of the cosmos vast and fascinating. She spoke of star systems Rhys had only dreamed of ancient civilizations long forgotten. And yet, there was a sadness in her eyes, a weight she carried that no amount of conversation could lift. One night, as they stood on the observation deck, gazing at the endless expanse of stars, Rhys finally asked her, "What happened to your people?" Lyra's golden eyes glimmered with pain. "We were betrayed," she said softly. "A neighboring race sought our technology, our knowledge. When we refused to share it, they turned on us. My world burned, and my people scattered to the winds. Those who survived became prey for those who saw us as nothing more than trophies. Rhys felt a surge of anger on her behalf. I'm sorry. Do not pity me, Captain, she said, her voice firm. Pity those who trade in suffering. They are the ones who have truly lost their way. As time passed, Lyra's presence began to change the Iron Veil. The crew, once rough and distrustful, started to soften under her influence. She spoke to them, not as a captive or an outsider, but as an equal. She shared stories, offered wisdom, and even assisted in navigating treacherous star systems with her intimate knowledge of the galaxy. Slowly but surely, she became one of them. But peace was fleeting. One day, as the Iron Veil approached a neutral trading post, they were ambushed by a fleet of alien ships. The insignia on their hulls was unmistakable, the same race that had destroyed Lyra's people. The battle was fierce. The Iron Veil was outnumbered, its shields failing under the relentless assault. As Rhys barked orders from the bridge, Lyra appeared beside him, her expression calm but determined. Captain, she said. I can help. How? Rhys demanded, dodging a shower of sparks as a console exploded. Trust me, she said. With no other options, Rhys nodded. Lyra moved to the central console and placed her hands on it. Her body began to glow, the light spreading from her skin to the ship's systems. Suddenly, the Iron Veil came alive, its weapons firing with precision and power far beyond its normal capabilities. The alien ships faltered under the unexpected onslaught, their formation breaking as they attempted to retreat. Within minutes, the battle was over. The enemy fleet was either destroyed or in full retreat, and the Iron Veil remained standing. As the crew cheered, Rhys turned to Lyra. Her glow was fading, and she looked weary but triumphant. What did you do? He asked. I shared a piece of myself with your ship, she said. My people's technology was not just machinery. It was a part of us. A bond between flesh and steel. Rhys stared at her, understanding dawning. You're more than just an alien girl. She smiled faintly. I am what remains of my people. A living archive of our knowledge and power. And now, a part of me lives within your ship. The crew hailed Lyra as a hero, but she remained humble, retreating to the quiet solitude of her quarters. Rhys visited her there, bringing a small token of thanks, a star map he'd found among the spoils of their last raid. For you, he said. A map to places you might want to see. Or avoid. She accepted it with a grateful smile. Thank you, Captain. Call me Rhys, he said. For a moment, they stood in silence, the unspoken bond between them stronger than words. Lyra's journey was far from over, but for the first time in a long while, she didn't feel alone. And neither did Rhys. In the vast expanse of space, where stars burned bright and battles raged fierce, the Iron Veil sailed on. No longer just a ship of raiders, but a vessel carrying hope and the legacy of a girl who was more than a prize. A girl who had reminded them all that even in the darkest corners of the galaxy, there was still light to be found. And with every star they passed, the bond between them grew stronger, a silent promise that no one was ever truly alone.